What's up, smaller Jimathons? It's Jimathan Minecraft the 4th, and today we're going over everything in the recent update. This is the biggest update for the game that I've seen, so let's just get right into it. Now, obviously, I'm not going to cover every spec of the update because there's just too much, and I would hope most of you wouldn't care if there was a slight gradient change and I decided to leave that out of the video. But anyways, the first thing I want to cover is the new 5 maps in the game. I'm going to start off with the least interesting of the bunch, in my opinion, which is Lousy Logs. Lousy Logs is a forest map with a bunch of destructible trees that you can get on top of. There's also a tree house which you can do some funky trowel stuff on. Other than that, there's not really anything notable about the map than, oh yeah, the 20-second interactable that creates the most useless wall in the fucking game. Like, seriously, what the fuck is this tiny-ass wall gonna do except waste my 20 seconds of time? Now, don't get me wrong, I do like the concept of a buildable interactable on the map, but honestly, here it's just pointless. But let's not lie to ourselves, we're still going to vote this map every time over Danny Desert, because at least it has something interesting about it. Moving on, we have Suspicious Suburbs, which actually has a lot of unique things about it. The theme of this map is obviously a suburb with a bunch of breakable houses you can use for cover and high ground. There's also these weird NPCs that walk around the map at random and stare at you, judging you for your terrible life decisions. This house has a garage attached to it, which also has a car in it, so automatically it goes up a letter grade. And interestingly enough, I only realized this the other day, that in this pink house's backyard, there's an interactable grills that spawn little bits of food that heal you for 5 health. If you venture outside the map to the 2 houses that are on the outskirts of the road, you might find something suspicious going on in both of them. Overall, pretty cool map, but we still have 3 more to cover, so let's move on. The next map we have is Gloomy Grove, which out of the 5 new maps is my favorite. The map itself is pretty subpar, nothing really too interesting except for a new aesthetic, but what makes it my favorite is the Easter egg puzzle. On the map, there are 5 lanterns that you have to light in a specific order, which is randomized to open a door. If you mess up the order, it will unlight all the other lights and you would have to start all over. If you complete the puzzle, the door will break open. Inside the door, there's the statue, and if you hold down on the interactable, it gives you a healing buff for about a round's worth of time, which heals you 6 every time it procs. It's important to note that only one person can have it at a time, and the statue will start to glow when you can interact with it again. It's a cool little side mission that can give you a non-game breaking buff, which I think is pretty cool. The next map we have is Hazard Heights. Hazard Heights is a city-like map with a golf cart in this building to the left. It also has this soccer area where you can score a goal and it plays a sound effect. When you kick the ball, it targets the nearest player and goes for them, and if it hits them, they ragdoll for a second. Not really much to talk about, but it's still a good map. On to the last map, which is Cherry Garden, which I'm kind of confused on why this map is the only map that wasn't alliterated. I mean, you have memorable names like Suspicious Suburbs or Gloomy Grove, and then you have this map, Cherry Garden. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of odd, but anyways, on to the actual map. It's a pretty basic map with a barren front side, so you're never really going to want to go anywhere else except the hill and the shop side of the map. And it does have one unique interactable, which is the statue inside the house. At this statue, you have the option to bribe it with 200 coins, and there's a small chance it'll awaken. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the chance is, but it's definitely a small number because I've sat there with like myself and a group of people, and it just took forever to awaken that bitch. You just keep taking my coins. But yeah, he's basically a Red Cliff warrior on your side that doesn't attract or take any damage for enemies, but he does die to literally anything that breaks blocks, like in this clip where a giant Robloxian just barely touches him, he literally crumbles to the fucking floor. But I've also seen him just tank a time bomb that landed right on top of him like it was nothing, so it's a bit weird. Overall, these 5 new maps are unique not only in their aesthetic, but in the interactions in the map. It's a nice change of pace where instead of just slapping another disaster into the game and calling it a day, we get a more interesting and depthful maps. One thing I still see people bring up is the fact that newer maps usually don't have indestructible high ground or cover, and yes, they're right, they typically don't. But honestly, over my almost 3 years of playing this game, the most boring part of some of the maps is the consistency, like Wacky Warehouse. If the map gets blown to planet shitness, then all you have to do is run to the pipe and you win until the next map. And that kind of gameplay was fine when we didn't have things like trowel or umbrella, but nowadays there's so much air stall in the game, not to mention you can just trowel on the spawn or the shop and make your own high ground, that I don't think we really need any sort of, hey look, if you go to this part of the map you win. It's really stale and it just kills the replayability aspect of the game. It's supposed to be a chaotic party survival game. You shouldn't have a safe zone that doesn't change no matter how fucked up the map is. With that little side rant out of the way, there were a couple of notable changes in already existing maps. Sky Ruins went through another remake which adds a giant fucking castle. It also took away the low ground on the map alongside the pitfalls. Castle Gardens got noticeably more pixelated, and the broken piece of the bridge was now replaced with a well. Winterville's presents are now interactable, which if interacted, they will drop a random assortment of coins, which is a nice touch to an older map. and Acid Depths was removed from the voting pool. You can no longer go on that map. Now that we're done with the maps, let's move on to the 2 new disasters, which I really count 4 since 2 were completely reworked from their original. One of the new disasters is called Shogun, which is a combination of 2 humanoids, one being the Samurai, which moves slower than the other variant, which are Shogun. They do 30 damage and overall are an alright disaster. Whoa, slow down past me. Yeah, so it turns out Shogun aren't as shallow as I originally thought. When getting gameplay for this video, I did actually end up finding a Shogun memo, and it does have interesting things on it. It says that every kill the Shogun gets increases its damage and speed, and after 3 kills, it one-hits players. That's pretty cool. I had no idea that's how that worked. This is like the only time a memo has ever taught me anything about this game. The next completely new disaster we have is the Trickster, which randomly spawns on the map as a prop. I've seen it as a road sign, a chair, a bed. It can be many different things, but if you damage it in any way, it will transform into a little fucking rodent and chase you down, dealing 25 damage every hit. I like the gimmick of the disaster. It's completely unique and overall a fun thing to look out for. Next off, we have the reworked Shedletsky, which changed him from a 3-hit noobs to a weaker but slightly different Alex Neutron. He spawns in the middle of the map and starts to lob turkey legs at the closest player, dealing 50 damage if they touch it. These turkey legs don't disappear when the disaster ends. They work similarly to the Epic Duck's bonus ducks. I like this version of Shedletsky better because all the other version was just a noob clone that did permanent damage to you during the round and could kill you within 3 hits. But yeah, on to the next reworked disaster, which is Stone Troid, now called Fist of Fury. Fist of Fury works similar to Stone Troid in the sense that they aim at a player and create a line of explosions in that direction. But unlike Stone Troid, Fist of Fury targets the closest player instead of randomly and can be baited by standing on top of his head. You used to be able to dark heart it, which I thought was intended, like an intended weakness that if you got on top of his head, boom, you can dark heart it, but if you don't, then he's not gonna get killed. But apparently that was a bug because it was fixed just the other day. Personally, I think it being able to be dark hearted was a cool weakness, but in hindsight, it was clearly a bug, as in you could still dark heart the fist left behind and heal a fuck ton. Stone Troid was a clunky disaster, and I think this rework is 100% better for it. Like the maps, there are some notable changes toward already existing disasters. Poltergeist now does damage anywhere from 49 to 99 instead of doing damage based off the projectile speed. Flashfoot rises higher than it did now, so it's actually more of a threat and not just the weakest rising in the game. Noobs and explosive noobs walk a lot faster. Red Cliff Warriors attack you from way further. The amount of aliens that spawn in Alien Invasion is increased, 3 for standard and 4 for hyper. Touching the fireworks spawner now instantly kills you. Counterfeit coins don't glow like normal coins, so you can distinguish them a little better. Vampires are now named Jiangshi. I definitely said that wrong, but that's just how they're named. Delinquents will now start to break blocks when they shoot at them. Sandstorm now hits way more consistently. Hot Potato now has a fire effect and spawns further in the map. Missile Strike doesn't go in a straight line and instead goes a tiny bit to the left or a tiny bit to the right. Thieves were renamed to Burglars and their model was changed and they now get distracted on coins. And lastly, Falling Hoops and Token Hunt B bonus rounds were removed. Now that we're done with the map and disaster updates, let's move on to the brand new mode added to the game. This new mode is called Survival of the Fittest. The mode is pretty simple. Players vote on a map, and after that map is chosen and the break time ends, they have to survive an onslaught of combos. Every round is a combo, and every 5 rounds the combo increases in size, starting at doubles, then triples, then quadruples, and then finally quintuples. The objective is to outlast players, because when you die in this mode, you're out of the game until there's only 1 person left. It's important to note that there are no combo restrictions. In this game mode, you will get insanely difficult or server killing combos. Remember though, your objective is not necessarily to survive the disasters, it's to outlive everyone else, so if a server killing combo does happen, just try to prevent your death for as long as you can and hope everyone else dies. I like this game mode. It's a really chaotic and very interesting way to make standard disasters actually fun. We've covered the main parts of the update, but there are still a couple of changes and additions that are noteworthy. Like how there is now a server listing in the game. Now you can't get blocked out of a server because someone decided that they don't like you and that they don't want you in their server. Next, there's a new limited time gear in the shop called the Mooncake. It heals you for 3 health for around 2 seconds for a total of 15 health. It basically is just a worse pizza, but good for new players. Rank A players are now able to join hardcore, which is supposed to help it not die. The Game Pass double coins has increased in price from 500 to 799 Robux, along with the 3x map vote Game Pass, which has increased from 80 to 149 Robux. Auto heal in its legendary form would heal you for 5 health every 1.5 seconds, but now it takes 3 seconds to heal you. It's a pretty hefty nerf, and I suggest you switch your auto heal orbs to either Tanker, Cloak, or Immunity, because auto heal was debatably worse than something like Tanker before its nerf, but now it 100% is. That basically covers everything important in this update. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I did not go over every minute change or addition to the game, so if you want to read the update log for yourself, you can check out the game's Twitter where everything was posted. I'll leave a link in the description. Overall, very good update for the game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and yeah, I think that's it for now. Later, masturbators.